mean, it's electronic. It can be via email or PayPal. Or any of those types. It's very quick, isn't it?
No, yeah, they'll dangle the carrot in front of you, and that's one of the tactics that's really evolved in the last 10 years with modern technology. They'll get the check in your account quickly, and it's awfully tempting, but resist that temptation again until you talk to an attorney.
Let's get to the phone lines. We're going to go to Jean this evening. Jean, what can we help you with?
Hi, Jean.
Yes, my question is, if you've had a case and you actually went through all the legal procedures, you went through the courts and everything, and a month after you settle your case, your injuries became so almost like, to the point you can't do anything. They have just shut you down. What do you do then?
Unfortunately, Gene, if you've settled your case, you can't do anything.
Wow.
And that's why you need an attorney involved, because what attorneys do is anticipate the future. Everyone's entitled, if you're injured, for instance, in a case, you're entitled to future medical expenses, future impairment ratings, and a competent attorney who's experienced in this area will talk to your doctors and get an understanding as to what that's going to cost and include that in the settlement. But again, if you cash the settlement check and it's negotiated, you're done.
Yeah.
Regardless of how your injuries turn out later.
We were just talking about that. Great question, Gene. That is, it could be some hard advice there. Let me suggest to you, give Matt or Jim a call on Monday. Y'all are there. It's football season, but we're still there, aren't you, Jim?
Absolutely.
They're taking those phone calls. Jim Reeves, Matthew Mestayer, Reeves and Mestayer, 228-374-5151. They have the toll-free number and rmlawcall.com. Thank you, Bud. As always, we'll see you next Saturday night here after the football game for Law Call.
WLOX Law Call, underwritten in the public interest by the law firm of Reeves Mestayer, the attorneys for South Mississippi.
Welcome to Law Call and WLOX tonight. So happy that you stayed around after the news and the football game, staying up late with us here on Law Call. We've got graphics, we got questions, we've got Jim Reeves, and a great topic for Jim tonight, offshore injury, something that Jim knows all about. And Jim, it is a good evening, sir. Good evening. Thanks for coming in for the football game. Offshore injury, it can get complicated kind of quickly, can it?
Very quick, very quick. The laws are a lot different if you're working offshore or if you're working on a vessel. Potentially your recovery is much greater. The work is dangerous. The cases can be very, very complicated. And we have a graphic to talk about some of the things that people are entitled to if you're a Jones Act seaman and covered by that act. And so unlike workers' compensation, if someone's working onshore, you're entitled to lost earnings, lost earning capacity, not just 2/3, which you would typically get if you're hurt onshore, but 100% of your lost earnings.
That's a big deal.
Past or future can be a huge deal.
It's a big deal.
Past, present, and future medical bills, whether you're incurred them in the past or a doctor says you're likely to incur them in the future, all of your medical bills have to be paid if you're injured and you're covered by the Jones Act. This is very important, not available in really any workers' compensation statute in the country that I'm aware of other than the Jones Act and maybe railroad employees. Pain, suffering, and mental anguish. If you're hurt on the job, you're entitled to recover from your employer 100% of your pain, suffering, and mental anguish under the Jones Act. Distinguishes it from almost any workers' compensation act in the country.
Jim, let's talk about, you can have the same person, same injury, but where it occurs, big difference. what makes you Jones Act? It's not just going to the oil rig.
Right. No, if you're a Jones Act, basically, if you're assigned to a vessel and assist in the work of that vessel. So if you're a captain's assistant, a crew member, a deckhand, you're assigned to a vessel, you're probably a Jones Act seaman and covered by this act.
So that's the big thing. It's you could be working on a dock, different set of rules, but if you are heading out to sea, you're Jones Act.
That's right.
Gotcha. Dangerous work, so they have different rules.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why, because it is very, very dangerous work, and particularly when this law was created, it was very dangerous.
Oh yeah, and it's needed work. My gosh, where would we be without our oil workers and offshore workers? It's just incredible. All right, it is Law Call, so we are going to get a call in here. Jim, let's go to the phone lines and let's talk to, who are we talking to tonight? Larry. Larry, what can we help you with?
My son worked on a rig in Louisiana, got bit by a snake. They just took him to his truck. He had to drive himself to the ER. Leg turned all black, and took a while to get better. He called the company, told them what happened. They just fired him. Didn't give him help with insurance or nothing. He's a young guy, so he just didn't know what to do. So he just let it go. But I'm wondering if statute's still 3 years. See if he can do something about it.
Larry, great question. I can feel the concern in your voice. What are your thoughts, Jim?
Yeah, the statute under Jones Act would be 3 years.
Okay.
Depending on his status, though, and I don't want to get into too much here, but this oil rig is attached to the bottom. It could be a workers' compensation claim. Depending on what he was doing on the rig, it could be another category of worker, and it could be a shorter statute of limitations. So he needs to call us Monday morning.
Right.
And let's talk about when this happened, the circumstances of it, what he's done so far to try to process a claim, and get started. Because again, if you have a statute of limitations out there, you can't wait. If I say it's 3 years, you can't wait 2 years and 11 months to start.
Right.
An attorney needs some time to investigate it and get the process going. And so you need to act sooner rather than later.
Jim, all of this just sounds so complicated. This is just, it'd be very hard to do on your own.
You can't.
Almost impossible.
It would be, you would really do yourself a disservice if you tried to handle a case, as a serious injury case, as a Jones Act seaman yourself. It'd be impossible to do it and get your full benefit.
Absolutely.
The adjusters in these types of cases are generally very aggressive because the cases can be high dollar cases. These are usually good wage earners, and a lot of times the injuries are catastrophic and prevent somebody from going back to work in the future.
Here's that contact information, 228-374-5151. They have the toll-free number, rmlawcall.com, where there's a whole blog about offshore injuries. You can check it out there. Jim, thank you as always, and until next Saturday, good night.
WLOX Law Call, underwritten in the public interest by the law firm of Reeves Mestayer, the attorneys for South Mississippi.
And welcome to Law Call on WLOX. Thank you so much for staying up with us late on this Saturday night after the football game. We're so happy to have you here. Speaking of football, we got the whole team in for you tonight. Playing fullback, Matthew Metier. And our starting quarterback, Jim Reeves, here with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. This has been a fun format for this football season. Are y'all getting some calls? People?
Yeah, we're hearing about it for sure.
Very good. I know the termite show. Always popular.
Indeed.
Tonight's topic is car and truck accidents. If you've been involved with a car and truck accident, family or friend, we got the perfect show for you tonight.
Yep.
A little bit faster than normal. Matt, you've come up with some do's and don'ts for us.
Absolutely, Kenny. Listen, we're all going to have to deal with this, and there's some things you need to know. First of all, don't downplay it. You're going to get asked at the scene whether you're hurt, and listen, be careful with that because your adrenaline's probably pumping, and you're going to say no when perhaps you are. Next, record the details. Everyone has a cell phone. Take plenty of pictures. Always a good idea.
Right.
Next, don't make any statements. It's always nice to check on the other party, make sure they're okay, but don't make statements of fault or anything like that. That's what the police job. They'll get into that. And lastly, the next day, make sure you call your lawyer for sure.
And Matt, don't make a statement. It's so easy to say something at the scene, and you're trying to be friendly, and and then all of a sudden it's like,
it's always nice to check on people, make sure they're okay, but don't get into, gosh, I didn't see you, or heck, or what happened there. Don't get into statements of fault. Don't get into who did what, who did when. The police will get into that.
Check on people. That's great.
Right. Be humanitarian.
That's right.
And then call your lawyer on Monday.
Indeed.
All right. Speaking of calling your lawyer, we have one call lined up tonight. Stephanie, if you're ready to go, what can we help you with?
Hi. I was involved in an accident. There were 4 cars in the accident back in August, and I was rear-ended by 2 other cars. One of them hit the other one, and they both hit me, and they were both doing at least 50 miles an hour. Who do I need to file claim against? The last person in the very back, or both of the people that hit me?
Jim, we've gotten this question before. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot. See this a lot. Short answer is, as a general rule under Mississippi law, if you're hit from the rear, it's the person who hit you's fault. Either they were following too close or going too fast. Generally, in those kind of cases, you would bring a claim against everybody that hit you, everybody in the sequence of the chain that went up, that contacted your vehicle, and the insurance companies then would sort that out. If you can't get it resolved without a lawyer, if you have a serious injury, you need to consult a lawyer immediately anyway, and you probably need to hire an attorney to sort out the faults and the coverages amongst the various parties.
Jim, is it every time the last person who hit the pile, are they always going to have some liability there?
Probably. It's always, always lawyers like to qualify, okay? Right. But generally, if you're hit from behind, everybody in the sequence you just described would have some degree of fault.
Matthew, and that would be very hard for the driver or somebody like Stephanie here to work all that out, right?
Absolutely. And if you don't include everybody, Kenny, you're going to have the missing chair defense, the empty chair defense. So it's always best to include everybody, and then we can work out the details.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so with the shorter format tonight, that's the only time we have for a call tonight, but you can get a hold of the boys anytime on Monday mornings. That's right. Jim Reeves, Matthew Metier, Reeves and Metier, 228-374-7151. They have their toll-free number and rmlawcall.call. Matt, when you are on Monday, when the calls come in, they say they're law call, you're ready for them, aren't you?
I'm ready. That's the first thing I do actually Monday morning is I see the calls that came in over the weekend, check our emails, because we like to respond to every email we get. We like to return those calls Monday. If you're going to call us, you're going to get a call back from somebody. If not me, one of my staff, we're going to help you if we can.
I'm usually there at 8. Matthew's there about 10.
Just kind of how it out there. You kind of pass along the emails that you need him to work on.
The show is supposed to be truthful, Jim Reeves.
That's right.
Let's talk about that.
All right, we appreciate everybody staying up late with us. We'll be back next Saturday after the ball game for more Law Call here on WLOX.